Today, on the Up and Up with Patrick and Talisha is taking you to marriage school with our first episode of First Class Friday. Here we go. Hey, welcome to On the Up and Up with Patrick and
Talisha.
And today we are giving you guys something new. In appreciation for you guys rocking with us, we wanted to give you more marriage content, more marriage knowledge from some of the biggest experts in the marriage field today. So first up, we have Pastor Jimmy Evans talking about what marriage really means. Here's Jimmy.
What does marriage mean? In the eyes of God, in the eyes of the state, what is it that what are we trying to accomplish when we stand in front of a preacher or whoever and we're married? What is it? There are three things that happen when we get married. Number one is financial unity. The state or the country, for those of you who are in different countries, when you get married, what the state is saying is, we now see you as one financially. You're one financial unit. Before, we saw you separately. You pay taxes separately, and if one of you died, you were not entitled to the other person's property. But now that you're married, we see you as one financially. The second thing is you're next of kin. Listen, you are now closer to them than you were to your parents. And the Bible says a man shall leave his father and mother. And by the way, God said that over Adam, and Adam didn't have a mother. Adam and Eve didn't have belly buttons. They were created first generation by God. And so God was saying marriage will not work unless you leave your mother and father, which just simply means reprioritize them, not to abuse them or anything. Just, reprioritize your mother and father and cleave unto your wife. Okay, you've heard the saying that blood is thicker than water. And we hear that saying, and it's kind of like, if a fight breaks out, choose blood. Your blood kin. Okay, well, let me give you another way to think of this. Blood may be thicker than water, but spirit is thicker than blood. And Jesus said, what God has joined together, let not man separate. When you get married, God joined you. When Adam saw Eve, God put him to sleep, took a rib out, created Eve, and he looked at Eve and said, this is bone of my bones. This is flesh of my flesh. And that's what happens when you get married. You are now family. You're more family than any family you've ever had. And again, this is an extremely important thing to understand. The third element of marriage is sexual exclusivity. And what that means is that we are now exclusive sexual partners. And by the way, sex is the only exclusive area of marriage. You spend money with other people, you talk with other people, you may pray with other people, worship with other people, interact with other people, but you shouldn't have sex with anybody else. It's one of the essential elements of a good marriage is sexual faithfulness. Okay, so let me talk for just a minute about these three areas. Finances. We are financial partners in everything each of us does, whether good or bad, affects the other. So now we're a partnership, we're a team. And we have to understand that people get married, and by the way, people who are married are better off financially than people who aren't, almost all the time. Marriage is the greatest wealth-producing entity on earth. Okay, but you have to do it right, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. We're next of kin, and what that means is I am primarily taking responsibility for you. You may have had other people, before we got married, you may have had mother, father, brother, sister, aunts, uncles, grandparents, someone else before this marriage was primarily responsible for you. But here's what I'm saying in marrying you. I am now, until we die, I am now primarily responsible for taking care of you. I am assuming that responsibility. And that's what this marriage means. We're family. You're bone of my bone. Number 3, sexual exclusivity, which means we belong to each other and I will be faithful to you and I will be careful and accountable. And it also means I will fulfill your sexual needs. I am taking responsibility. Now, 1 Corinthians 7, the Apostle Paul, this is one of the most astounding scriptures in the Bible. The Apostle Paul says when you get married, you don't have authority over your own body. Your spouse does. Not for the sake of abuse, but for the sake of use. In other words, you can't use your body as a weapon. You can't withdraw sexually from your spouse to punish your spouse. They have a right of use of your body sexually when you get married. That's what marriage means. What does marriage mean? It means we're next of kin, we're financial partners, and we belong to each other sexually. And I will keep myself unto you alone sexually, and I will meet your needs. And your needs are not my needs. No two people have exactly the same sexual needs. And to meet each other's sexual needs, it means you're meeting the need in another person that you don't necessarily have. And the timing is typically not the same. And so this is what marriage means. And so if you're going to have a good marriage, the core has to be there. And the issue is it all has to be there. If any one of these begin to suffer, the marriage can suffer. In fact, it's an interesting thing. Do you realize that the 3 things I just mentioned, money, met needs, and sex, are the 3 reasons we get married and the 3 most powerful elements of marriage, and they're the 3 main reasons we divorce? The 3 main reasons that couples divorce are sexual problems, I'm not getting my needs met, and money problems. But that's actually the reason that God made marriage. The power of marriage is remembering the core. What is it that we're trying to accomplish? Listen to me. You got married, whether you realize it or not, you got married so you could share your finances and have an economic blessing so you could meet each other's needs and be fulfilled in life, and so you could have a faithful sexual partner for the rest of your life and get your needs met. That's why you got married.
All right, that was Jimmy Evans talking about the real meaning of marriage. Hope you guys enjoyed that. For the full talk, you can go to YouTube and type in what marriage really means, and that'll take you to the full conversation. You can also see Jimmy and his other resources at marriagetoday.com. We also have the links in the show notes. And don't forget to head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star rating and review. Remember, we will read that on the show. And follow us on our social media channels. You can hit me up at I am Pat Ratliff and Talisha at The Farm D Mommy. And our official Instagram page is Patrick and Talisha. And go over to our Facebook and like our Facebook page at Patrick and Talisha. That's it for this Friday. You guys have a great weekend. Do something nice for your husband or your wife, and we will catch you guys on Monday. God bless.
Thank you for listening to On the Up and Up with Patrick and Talisha. For access to all of our episodes, please subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and wherever you listen to our show. Leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes, and we will give you a shout out on our next episode. Stay connected with us on Twitter and Instagram at I am Pat Ratliff and at The Farm D Mommy. Thanks again for listening, and we will see you next week. God bless.